What's up, guys? It's Chris. Recently, behavior has finally taken note of one of the most frustrating parts of Dead by Daylight: map offerings. These offerings could make for some of the worst experiences in Dead by Daylight, and I always hated seeing some broken maps like Eerie offered while I'm doing a win streak. But now, the rarity of these has changed to brown or common, making it so you can get these in almost every single blood web. I'm already racking up a ton of these, which I'll pretty much exclusively be using from now on, and I'm sure a lot of you guys who play Killer will be doing the same. No more are the days where you'll be taken to Eerie, Garden, the bugged Auto Haven. Instead now, your games can only be more sad by RNG. While this is a fantastic band-aid fix to their terrible map design, I do hope they take a look at the actual core issue in the future. But I also wanted to say how great this looks for the future of Dead by Daylight. While I can definitely tell behavior is still more focused on creating amazing skins than fixing core issues in the game, it shows that eventually they do listen to the community and try to address the issues with the game, even if it is with something as simple as a band-aid fix. Now, if we could just talk them into hiring the same quality of employees that make their cosmetic teams to make their maps, this game could be on the road to being one of the best games of all time. And since I just returned from a long break from DBD, I want to go over more of the game balance issues with you guys. So in Darva's recent video I saw, he talked about rampant insta-heals, brand new parts, and map offerings. And since I came back to DBD, I was seeing at least one insta-heal in literally every match I played. Now, don't get me wrong, if killers had an add-on they could use 4 times throughout the match to literally give them a free health state for pressing a button, I wouldn't see them as a massive issue. But they don't, so I definitely think it's something that should be addressed.
For example, if you're a survivor and you're leveling up your blood web, you might get one strong item every now and then, but not enough to play them every single match. However, when you get to Prestige 100, if you've never seen it, it looks like this. You get blood webs with very high rarity items, and then when you level up, you get another exactly the same type of blood web, level 50 blood web.
And as far as this goes, I think Otz is 100% correct that this is broken. I do think we could look for a devotion system with characters similar to our player level, where once you hit Prestige 100 on a character, you can hit Devotion 1 with them to be able to get either a super cool cosmetic or some in-game reward to show off how much you enjoy that character. Then you won't be able to simply spam insta-heals and BMPs every single match with zero downside to you, outside of the fact these things are not skill expressive in the slightest and simply overpowered.
Next issue is Medkit. Now, let me be clear, all of the items on the Survivor side are extremely outdated and all of them require some attention. Toolboxes haven't been changed in a very long time.
Now, just to point this out, actually toolboxes were changed not long ago and they were actually buffed for some reason. That's right, the items that can shorten a game's length by several minutes were actually buffed, but let's hear them out.
Flashlights haven't really had anything new change about them or add-ons change about them in years. Keys and maps are really one-dimensional and boring and not very popular, right? But the thing about Medkit is that they did get a rework relatively recently, and the rework, I think, it made them a bit weaker, but also it made them feel more necessary. We nerfed a lot of add-ons, right? We made a lot of add-ons less powerful for self-healing, but then we kept the syringe and the styptic in the game, even though they were nerfed slightly, and they're still so good. Why wouldn't you run these things? The syringe basically heals you passively while you can, I don't know, run around or do a gen, and it's still so unbelievably good. It basically smokes every other add-on.
And this is a massive issue. I get frustrated so often by these brand new parts and insta-heals because there's zero skill involved and the survivors get an insanely huge benefit for pressing one button. Now, obviously getting frustrated at the survivors for these things is unreasonable because it's the developer's fault they're put into the game, but sometimes, especially on a win streak, I just can't help it. The add-ons and items survivors have access to are either outright game-breaking or insanely mediocre with basically no in-between, and I think Otz is definitely on the right track here.
And then we have add-ons that make your healing speed 5% faster. Why would you ever want that? We have some grander rework is to make all add-ons a little bit more equal. Make the syringe and the styptic a little bit less impactful. I don't think there should be an add-on that gives you endurance. I'm sorry, I'll just die on that hill.
I honestly think that these changes to the styptic and insta-heal are some of the best I've ever seen, but I was thinking that they could make it essential to be able to heal yourself, period, that you have a med kit. It doesn't really make sense to just sit there rubbing your body and then get healed after you had a meat hook thrown through your shoulder, but that's just my opinion.
But to make up for this nerf, make every other add-on on the Medkit more engaging and more fun, not just 5% faster.
And this is a major problem with a lot of Survivor add-ons specifically. Killer, there are some like that, but Survivor across the board, even their perks is vault a window, you run at Mach 10 for 3 seconds. Start running, you run at Mach 10 for 3 seconds. Press a button, you get healed in 10 seconds. I mean, the actual design is so baby friendly that I do think we can make them a lot more interesting and impactful while actually taking some input.
Making the add-ons a little bit more fun, so that there's reasons to run different ones in different situations, I think would really, really help. I think this could be a good first step for Medkit add-ons, and this same idea could be applied to other items as well, which right now are sorely missing in variety.
As far as toolboxes and brand new parts go, toolboxes at this point in DBD with all the gen speed perks survivors have access to simply should not provide any gen speed. Gen regression has been gutted on repeat, there are limited amounts of damages a killer can actually do to a generator, and yet with the press of a button, a survivor can take 10% off of a gen permanently. That is absurd. The fact these toolboxes can reward survivors for simply holding right click instead of left click with over 30 seconds shaved off a generator is also absurd. I think we can make brand new parts installed on a generator, make that generator have zero noise for the killer so you can't just pass by it and know the progress, you actually have to look at it. Maybe this wouldn't be worthy of an eerie add-on anymore, instead make it purple or something, but it is a lot more fair and actually still maintains a use. Past that, the toolboxes themselves should honestly be transitioned into sabotage only. With the sabotage buffs they gave the toolboxes, I thought for sure they'd remove the gen speed component, but behavior sometimes misses the mark in a big way. This gives the toolboxes a fun use for lots of specific builds, but also doesn't allow them to be thrown on with 4-second chances and make survivors 50 times better players than they actually are.
But it gets extremely lame to be sent to the same maps over and over and over again. Some people think that maps in DBD are the biggest balancing factor, and one side should not be able to constantly choose which map to go to. I will die on this hill. There are multiple ways you could fix this. The most elegant and beautiful would be to make all of the maps balanced and all of them fun and fair.
I think we all probably know that's not going to happen.
And the developers I'm sure are doing their best, but we're not there yet. So until that happens, please limit map offerings. I think there's 2 ways you could do it relatively quickly. Number 1 would be to buff the green hand. This is an offering that cancels map offerings. You could make it so that if there's no map offering, this green hand doesn't get consumed.
And this is what's giving me such massive hope for DBD. The fact that he just talked about this problem, which I've talked about in about 15 different videos, and then the company actually took a look at the problem with the maps and made this sacrificial reward change. I think we're on the way to greatness. I'm not sure if he purposely glossed over how broken some of the perks are in the game, or if it's just because he knows that the nature of the game can be pay to win in that aspect, and behavior has a business model that they try to stick to. Either way, I do think that's also a massive issue, but if they could solve the actual items themselves for now with the maps, that would be a huge step in the right direction. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys are super excited for the future of DBD, tell me how many of you guys are going to be using sacrificial wards in every single one of your games, because I know I am. But either way, I will catch you awesome people in the next video.